Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 8 and 9. Text 8 has no purport, so we'll read the translation and proceed to text 9. However, I see that text 8 is on the board, Dashka, and not 9. So we'll do the Sanskrit of text 8 and text 9 total. Sūta ādi-rājasya yaśo vijṛmbhitaṁ guṇair aśeṣair guṇavat-sabhājitam kṣattā mahā-bhāgavataḥ sadaspate kauṣāraviṁ prāha gṛṇantam arcayan Vidura uvāca. So Maitreya Prithu reprayed, labda seisha surahanaha dibrata vaishnavam tejo bhavyo yabhiham gudodatam. So we are reading about the coronation of King Prithu in these verses of the Bhagavatam. In your country also, at one time you had monarchy, the czars. Is that what they were called, the czars? Everyone's forgotten about that now. It's all history. So, I'm sure you may have seen pictures of kings getting coronated. There aren't too many monarchs left now. So King Prithu was a monarch, not of a small country, but of the whole planet. But unlike the present-day monarch, he was an example of God consciousness. We have read in these verses how the king was coronated, how he was received with so much love, and he was offered so much opulence, not only by the citizens of his planet kingdom, but also by the demigods. But in spite of getting so much honor and opulence, King Prithu was not at all affected by it. Just like we saw Srila Prabhupada, he got so much honor and respect and love from his disciples and followers and friends. But he was completely unaffected. So Vidura is pointing out that King Prithu was installed on a throne by great sages and brahmanas. So you probably know the background, that his father King Vena was godless, atheistic, against the execution of Vedic rituals. He used to call the brahmanas prostitutes, because he said, I'm maintaining you, and you brahmanas are worshipping Vishnu. Stop worshipping Vishnu, worship me. I'm God. So the brahmanas said, now this man has to go. The people were suffering. Why were the people suffering? Because the head was godless. And when the head is godless, natural nature goes on strike. And when natural nature goes on strike, no amount of scientific discoveries and economic manipulation can help you. How does material nature go on strike? Does it raise red flags and go to red square? Like you used to do in the communist days? No, they withhold supplies. The trees don't give fruits anymore. The oceans and the mountains don't give minerals anymore. So people have to starve. No water to drink. Earthquakes, floods, natural disasters. So because the citizen was suffering, the brahmanas had no choice but to curse him to die. The brahmanas in prior ages were so powerful that they could light fire just by chanting mantras. Can you do that today? So similarly, the brahmana just cursed him to die and he died. You can't be so powerful today. So King Prithu was completely God conscious. As Prabhupada says in the opening lines of the purport, he was an empowered incarnation. He was a Shaktavesh avatar. There are 6 categories of incarnations of the Lord. There is the Purusha avatar. This is the category that creates the universe and expands into the living entities. Then there is the Guna avatar. Then there is the Leela avatar. Then there is the Yuga avatar. Then there is the Shaktavesh avatar. and Manvantara avatar. Shaktavish avatar is of two categories, direct and indirect. Just like Prabhupada said, Jesus Christ was a Shaktavish avatar. He was empowered to deliver a message. So King Prithu was an empowered incarnation, Shaktavish avatar, and he came to establish the principles of Dharma. So King Prithu's instructions, you'll read about his instructions in this chapter, but the essence of his instructions was, glorify God, only then can you be happy. So what is being pointed out by Srila Prabhupada in the purpose of this chapter is the importance of the king being God conscious. The head of state must be God conscious. Prabhupada used to explain that this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is for the heads of state. Evam panapara praptam iman rajasya vidhu. This supreme science is coming through the saintly kings. On this earthly planet, Maharaj Prithu was ruling over the planet over 2 million years ago. And he preached, he was practicing and preaching the Bhagavad Gita. So the head of state, he must consider himself to be a representative of the Lord. Have you heard of the tiny kingdom Nepal? So they have a king. And they say, our king is a representative of Lord Vishnu. But unfortunately, that representative of Vishnu, he drinks and eats meat. So we don't accept him as a representative of Lord Vishnu. So we read about in Vedic history so many saintly kings. And these saintly kings were God conscious, and hence there was prosperity. The prosperity of today, the economic standards of today, even in the richest country of this planet, America, cannot compare to the economic standards that existed in the Vedic days. For example, during Lord Ramachandra's rule, the streets would be sprinkled with rose water every day. Do they do that in Moscow, streets of Moscow? Rose water to be sprinkled every day. Even in America, even in the streets of Washington, they don't do. They don't even wash the streets with water every day, forget rose water. So there's no comparison. Plus the kings were totally detached. Just like when Lord Ramachandra became the king, all the citizens came and gave him huge gifts to Lord Ram and Sita. They accepted all the king gifts and then they offered it back to the citizens. Sita Devi gave all of her jewelry away. She only had a nose ring left. This was their renunciation. Similarly, King Prithu, he was very detached. He had all the opulence, but he knew it's temporary. And you read in the Bhagavatam a story of King Sivi. Not only were these kings detached, not only were they God conscious, but they also considered it their prime duty to protect all the inhabitants in the kingdom. A God conscious king considers even the animals to be part of his kingdom. Once the demigods wanted to test a very pious king called Maharaj Prithu. So demigods disguised themselves, one playing the role of a pigeon and another playing the role of an eagle. The pigeon came to the king and said, "Please protect me! This eagle is trying to eat me. I'm a citizen of your country, please protect me." So the king said, "No problem, I'll protect you." Then came the eagle. He said, "Where is that pigeon? I'm chasing that pigeon, I'm going to eat it." The king said, "That pigeon has come to me for protection. I can't hand him over to you." So an arrangement was, the king offered to give the flesh from his body equal to the weight of the pigeon. So the king was so dedicated, he offered the flesh from his body. Just see. So he started giving the flesh from his body equal to the weight of the pigeon. And slowly, the weight of the pigeon went on increasing. And the king went on giving more and more flesh. He didn't go back on his word. Eventually, the demigods were so pleased that they revealed their identity and restored all the flesh on his body. You read the story of another very magnanimous king called King Rantideva. He was also a very God-conscious king. Once he had finished fasting for 48 days with his wife. It was total fast in Nirjala. Very soon you have this Saturday, Nirjala comes. So for us, even Monday is a big struggle. So King Rantideva did for 48 days. So as he was about to break his fast, with some food stuff made of milk, sugar and water, A hungry Brahmana ran into his palace. The hungry Brahmana said, I am hungry. It's a duty to give me something to eat. Please give me something to eat. And the king gave him a little bit of food stuff that he had. As he was about to eat, again, another hungry man walked in. He parted with the food stuff. Ultimately, there was only some water left. And when a thirsty man walked in, he even parted with that. So, we just gave you some small examples of very famous pious kings and how they were God conscious, and as a result society prospered. So Prabhupada says in the purport, every executive head of state should follow in the footsteps of King Prithu. It doesn't matter whether the king, the chief is king or president or prime minister, but he must understand his God conscious responsibility. From a spiritual perspective, we are in favor of spiritual monarchy rather than the so-called craze of Kali Yuga called democracy. You know what Prabhupada used to say for democracy? Demon crazy. It's a government, all the demons fall the demon by the demon. There's a very famous definition of democracy that we learned in school. It was a definition given by Abraham Lincoln, the famous American. He said, government of the people, for the people, by the people. Government of the people, for the people, by the people. So that has got changed to government of the fool. So anyway, we all know that it's not a government for the people anymore. It's a government for the people in power and their relatives and friends. So, our process is spiritual monarchy. So the head of state must understand his responsibility in guiding civilization on the path of self-realization. Then there will be cooperation from material nature. Like these days, the heads of state virtually all over the world are almost godless. And as a result, society is suffering immensely. The world is running out of natural resources. So what is needed is educating the heads of state about the spiritual responsibilities. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives us the economic formula for success. Krishna says, Anna bhavani bhutani prajanan anna sambhava. Food gains come from rainfall, rainfall comes from sacrifice. Sacrifice means the execution of religious duties. So unless we execute religious duties, we will not be able to get cooperation from material nature. We should not forget that natural nature works under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Maya-dakshena prakriti srite sacharacharam. So unless we worship the Supreme Lord, natural nature will not cooperate. Further in the purport, Prabhupada says that this process is so perfect that everyone who follows this path will become happy. So what is being said here is that genuine happiness can be realized if we take to the process of pure devotional service. That is the path of real happiness. And if we are not on the path of devotional service, if we are trying to engage in ritual activities, there will really be no real happiness. In the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, there is a detailed description of the hellish planets. And it is explained the different types of punishment for different types of crime. So it is explained how if one becomes the head of state, or if one takes some responsibility and doesn't guide the citizens on the path of God consciousness, then one has to experience severe punishment. Is the 5th canto out in Russian? When it comes out, you'll read about the description of the different hellish planets. And it is explained how one who becomes a head and doesn't guide the citizens on the path back to God consciousness, how he is squeezed through a machine, just like a sugar cane. The Bhagavatam is very blunt. It describes exactly what the punishment is for eating meat, for illicit sex, or any other sinful activity you engage in. So, Krishna consciousness of the sons of God consciousness is the only hope for society. So Vidura is saying that he's very anxious to hear about the transcendental glories of King Prithu. King Prithu clearly acknowledges by the mercy of the Lord that he is now the king. So God consciousness is a great need of the hour. We have to be convinced beyond doubt that except for devotional service, there is no other process that can make society happy. And as we execute the process in the association of devotees, our conviction will get stronger and stronger. The process of devotional service is so powerful that as we execute it, we get more and more strength. Just like a wrestler, as he practices, he becomes stronger and stronger. A sportsman or a musician, the more he practices, he becomes better. So similarly, the more we practice Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees, the stronger we become spiritually. And as we practice in the association of devotees, our doubts begin to get weaker and weaker. And then when the doubts do come up, in ISKCON there's a wonderful way of removing your doubts. Rupa Goswami recommends 6 types of rasas amongst devotees. And Prabhupada says in the purport that this ISKCON movement is created to facilitate these 6 types of rasas amongst devotees. So we reveal our mind to those who are more advanced. Take instructions from them. Give in charity, accept charity. Offer prasad, accept prasad. What do you have to offer in charity? You may say, we have no money in here, dingy. I'm sure you all don't have Swiss bank accounts. So what do you have to give in charity? Transcendental knowledge. So we should distribute transcendental knowledge. Those who are more advanced, give transcendental knowledge to those who are less advanced. And receive in charity. We receive in charity donations, we receive in charity instructions, how to advance spiritually. Then we reveal our mind, our doubts, mature desires to sadhus, guru, and take instruction. Then we offer in charity prasad, accept prasad. So I'm sure you have food for Lakshmi and food for life program. Potato chips, cake. Anyway, it's Krishna prasad. So give Krishna prasad and accept Krishna prasad. So when devotees engage in these different rasas, and by executing devotional service in the association of devotees, we get strength from each other. We see so many devotees developing so much of renunciation. We see so many devotees following very strict sadhana, getting up in the morning, enthusiastic about their service. So when we see them, we get inspired. We say, oh, they can do it, why can't we do it? You see other devotees, you see grihastas staying at home, practicing Krishna consciousness, coming to the temple regularly to serve, listen to classes, etc. And you say, oh, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And then Prabhupada's created such a wonderful society. Wherever you go, there's a Hare Krishna community. You go to Europe, you go to America, you go to India, you see Hare Krishna devotees everywhere. So it's like a big family. Prabhupada used to call this the real United Nations. So we have to explain the importance of devotional service to society. So there are many alternatives open. How do you explain? You can stop every man on the streets of Moscow and tell him, please stop, I want to talk to you, explain to you what's the process of devotional service. We have much luck with this process, huh? I don't think too many people will stop. And when they talk to you, people's memory is so short they'll forget. So what's the alternative? Community less process. So the alternative is give them these transcendental books. That's what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said if you talk to someone, he'll listen and he will forget. But if you give them a book, they'll read it, reread it, and give others to read it. So even though Kali Yuga is advancing, even though the symptoms of Kali Yuga are rapidly visible in every corner of the world, still Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement will go on expanding as long as we devotees have full faith and enthusiastically execute the process. We should never forget the Lord Chaitanya's prediction. Is going to come true. It's already come true. But still, whichever villages and towns are left will also get penetrated by Krishna consciousness. It's just a matter of time. It all depends upon us. Lord Chaitanya has made a plan. Prabhupada has given us all the ammunition. So now it's upon the soldiers, the present day soldiers and the future soldiers of the Krishna conscious movement to take advantage of the plan and to take advantage of the ammunition. So if we take advantage of the weapons and the plan, then Krishna consciousness will keep expanding. So we should enthusiastically accept the process and participate in the process of distributing transcendental knowledge. And we should consider ourselves very fortunate when we have the opportunity and the privilege to engage in service, especially preaching or book distribution. This fortune is given to the most privileged, the most fortunate people. Prabhupada said, just like people even now talk of Ram Rajya, because Ram Rajya was a period associated with happiness. Similarly, Prabhupada said, you can create Ram Rajya, Satya Yuga in Kali Yuga, by preaching and practicing Krishna consciousness. So we should endeavor hard to give people these books of Srila Prabhupada. Everyone, regardless of whether he's brahmachari or grihastha, should consider himself as a book distributor. And if that is your consciousness, then you will look for every opportunity to preach, give people these transcendental weapons. And by this process, the citizens will get knowledge, they will perfect their lives, they will stop sinning, and you will get the credit. You will get the credit from whom? From Krishna and Prabhupada and your Guru. They will bless you. Thank you for being an instrument for spreading Krishna consciousness. So we all have the opportunity through these marathons and programs, the book distribution and preaching programs, Namahat programs, etc., to become an instrument of the Lord or the spiritual master and the disciplic succession in rescuing people who are being drowned in the ocean of illusion. So please help rescue people from being drowned in the ocean of illusion and to be happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.